It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Shalom, everyone. It's your boy. I'm back by popular demand with a new movie breakdown.
This is Sparta!
This is 300. So I'm going to do what I usually do, give y'all a little sample, and if you like it, you can check out the rest. So without further ado, let's get it.
Let me guess. You must be Xerxes.
Now, in this particular scene, this is where Leonidas meets Xerxes. And Xerxes, while looking flamboyant and fruity, touches him on his shoulder. And then he says,
"Use my divine power, that I'm a generous God. I can make you rich beyond all measure."
you know, it's his divine power and how he's a generous God and he can make him rich beyond measure.
Your Athenian rivals will kneel at your feet, if you will but kneel at mine.
And just asks that, you know, he kneels at his feet, which then reminded me of the New Testament in Matthew chapter 4 with the devil, right? How it says the devil taketh him up an exceedingly high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and saith unto him, all these things will I give you if you will fall down and worship me.
That I'm a generous God. I can make you rich beyond all measure, if you will but kneel at mine.
So what we're seeing here is this is really man's doing, man trying to be God, okay? Hence man being a devil. But Leonidas, he didn't go for it.
The idea of kneeling, it's slaughtering all those men. Left a nasty cramp in my leg, so kneeling will be hard for me.
He didn't fall for it. Okay, this is what man do, and that's what they're really showing you here in the New Testament. That's a devil when man actually does that and tries to betray themselves as God.
Everything you could ever desire, every happiness you can imagine, I will grant you.
One of the Spartans who was actually a dwarf, okay, or a disformed dwarf, he was able to be deceived by Xerxes.
Embrace me as your king and as your God. Embrace me as your king and as your God. As your king and as your God.
Message!
Yes!
Xerxes actually told the dwarf to embrace him as his king and as his God.
Lead my soldiers to the hidden path that enters behind the cursed Spartans, and your joys will be endless.
And then he said, you know, lead his soldiers to the hidden path of the Spartans, and his joys will be endless. Pretty much, all you got to do is betray your people, and I'll take care of you. Just like Antiochus did in 2 Maccabees chapter 7, verse 24. Now, Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, like Xerxes is doing here to the dwarf, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and a happy man.
Your joys will be endless.
Like he was offering Leonidas.
I can make you rich beyond all measure.
Okay, and here he is offering the same thing to this dwarf. If he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. You see that? This is what man does, offering another man the world. This is what these kings and these rulers were actually doing. Okay, Daniel chapter 11, verse 32, and such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries.
Yes, I want it all. Wealth, women.
Okay, so here it is. He's being corrupted by flatteries. Then he falls down and worships him like a god, which brings me back to the New Testament when the disciples fell down and worshiped Jeepers Creepers, what they call Jesus Christ, as a god and worshiped him. Okay, Matthew 28 verse 9. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jeepers met them saying, all hail. and they came and held him by the feet and worshiped him. Exactly what this deformed dwarf is doing right here, right now, showing you that the devil is man trying to be God, trying to get man to worship him as a god.
If you end up worshipping Jesus, what you will really end up doing is worshipping Caesar in disguise.
Whether Caesar viewed himself as a king or something else, I think he really did want to be a god.
Anyways, if you'd like to check out the full breakdown, it's about an hour and 44 minutes long. Hit the link in the description below. On that note, I'm going to say peace and shalom.
Embrace me as her king and as her god. Embrace me as her king and as her god.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.